Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today we're going to interview champion bodybuilder Frank Zane. He held the titles of Mr. America, Mr. Universe, and he is also a three-time Mr. Olympia. His physique was considered one of the greatest in the history of bodybuilding due to his meticulous focus on symmetry and proportion. He was inducted into the IFBB Hall of Fame in 1999, and Zane is one of only three men to have ever defeated Arnold Schwarzenegger. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's show on all your social media to help get the word out. Now, let's say hello to Frank Zane. Hello, Frank. Welcome to the John Ark Show. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, John.
Frank, you were a dominating figure in the golden era of bodybuilding with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno. Tell us what the competition was like back then compared to today.
Well, I think years ago there were fewer bodybuilders. They were of an outstanding caliber, though. Today there are many, and so I think it might have been easier in my day than it is today.
Yeah. Now, I've met Arnold and Lou, and they were famous for lifting heavy, but you were known for lifting lighter weights with higher repetitions. Tell us, how did that help you?
I won't say that's entirely correct. I trained heavy. Actually, I worked up in weight every set, so I did use heavier weights. And I have trained with Arnold and pretty much used the same weights he did.
Okay, interesting. Do you believe you developed fewer injuries with that technique?
I think that there's a greater chance of getting injured when you train with heavier weights, for sure.
Exactly.
But I took the risk and I did have injuries, but I managed to train them around them, get therapy, and kept going.
Exactly. Do you believe that doing slow negatives also helped you a great deal?
Yes, I think it builds size and it helps you control the movement, and it's much safer.
Now, I've been lifting ever since I was 14, and I've always been a huge proponent of lifting high reps and low weight. Do you still lift in that way today?
I'm not sure what you mean high reps and low weights.
Well, lifting lower weights, lighter weights, and
lighter weights.
repetitions. Yes.
My rep range is usually between 8 and 12 reps per set for most exercises. For abdominals, I do higher reps, usually 20 to 30 reps. For legs, maybe a little higher, especially calves. I might do 15 to 20 reps.
And how many hours a week did you have to train to win Mr. Olympia?
Well, those are about 2 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week.
So you took a day off each week?
At least a day off, yes.
Tell us about your diet back then versus today.
My diet has always been pretty consistent. It's been a low carbohydrate diet. I always kept my carbs less than my protein intake. And I still do that. And I don't eat refined carbohydrates. And I get a lot of first-class proteins, like, protein from meat, eggs, fish, poultry. And I still do that.
So what would you have for dinner, typically lunch and dinner?
Lunch might be some fish and a salad. And dinner might be chicken and a vegetable.
And if you did eat some carbs, are we talking a couple of teaspoons? Perhaps a portion the size of the palm of your hand? How many carbs would you eat if you did eat them?
Well, it was always less than the protein intake.
Now, you actually lived at Schwarzenegger's place for a short while back in the day. What was that like back then? Were you more competitors or more friends?
Well, we were mostly friends. When I moved out to California, I stayed at Arnold's place on a cot in his living room for maybe a month until I found my own apartment. But it didn't last long.
Right.
And we're training partners. We'd go to the gym together.
What was the size differential between you and Arnold? How tall were you? How tall was he? And what was your weight difference between the two of you?
I was 5'9" and he was 6'1", and he weighed about 230, 235, and I weighed between 190 and 200.
Okay. Tell us about the business of bodybuilding back then versus now. I know you're selling supplements these days. Were you also selling supplements back then?
Not as much.
Okay.
I sell amino acid supplements mainly these days. Years ago, basically, I focused on selling instructional materials, books and courses. I still do that, though.
So,
just expanded it a bit.
so give us the name of the website that people can go to purchase your products.
FrankZane.com.
Did you also do running and other aerobic exercises back then, or were you doing primarily lifting?
I did some aerobics. Ideally, my best program was to run about 1.5 miles after workout.
Okay. And do you still run?
No,
Okay, so just lift.
I lift, but then I couple days a week I walk fast with my wife.
Nice, nice. And how many repetitions do you do per set back then versus today?
8 to 12. It's about the same.
Okay. Yeah, that seems to be like an optimal number for me, for you, and for a lot of other guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it works.
now, do you still go to Gold's Gym occasionally?
Well, I'm in San Diego and La Mesa, actually, and so I have my own gym, so I really don't go to Gold's.
Okay. And
What I did back in the 70s.
And what do you think of the impact of social media on the world of bodybuilding? I see how successful Jay Cutler has been with his social media, and now even Arnold is filming himself on a regular basis. How do you like the effect that social media is having on the industry?
Well, it's good. It's free publicity, and it's great to be able to take advantage of that. So I do whenever I can.
When was the last time you went to Gold's Gym, by the way?
Oh, I don't remember.
Now,
It wasn't recently.
Now, what did you think of some of the mass monsters like Ronnie Coleman, for example?
Well, it's not to my taste, but I think for them, it's what they needed to do to win.
Yeah.
You know, they're all big, massive guys way over 200 pounds. Coleman, like 230, 240.
Mhm.
So, it's what they chose to do to win Mr. Olympia.
You know, Ronnie is a very nice guy, but I'm just amazed at the extent of his back injuries. Whenever he shows his x-rays, his back x-rays in some of his videos, it's startling. The heavy weight that he's lifted over the years, it seems to me like he's just pushed the envelope a little bit too far as far as the weight goes. What do you think?
Well, I think he probably did. I think he said something one time that one of his biggest reps is that he only did 3 reps in the squat with 700, whereas he wishes he would have done 5. That doesn't make any sense to me. I never really relied on using heavy weights. My whole focus was to make lighter weights feel heavier and to get a good pump on every set.
Exactly. The thing that I marvel at is Ronnie's attitude. Always smiling, always positive. Even when he's taking those pain meds, he's always smiling. And, I'm thinking maybe that's the way he just always was. I don't know. But his attitude is unbelievable. Very positive.
Maybe that's why he's smiling, because
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. So
Made him happy.
a bodybuilder named Rich Piana passed away in 2017. I've never met him, but he had a monstrous physique. Did you know Rich? And if so, what did you think of his bodybuilding workouts and his exercise routines?
I don't know him, and I really don't know what he did.
Okay. What do you think of all the steroid usage amongst younger bodybuilders these days versus the amount of steroids being used decades ago?
It's always a mistake. I think the longer you can put that off in your career, the better it is. Teenagers, for example, make enough naturally produced testosterone that they don't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's side effects like increased aggression, increased hair loss, things like that. And it's best to get along without it and look for natural ways to supplement your hormones.
I'll tell you something a little depressing. I'm noticing gyms these days. You walk through the shower and you look in some of the shower stalls, and there are used syringes laying on the floors. So this tells me things are going in the wrong direction as far as steroid usage.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. What do you think bodybuilding will be in 5 to 10 years from now?
I hope it'll be more popular.
Yeah, I think it will.
Accepted by more people.
Yeah. Are you familiar with all the stem cell treatments that bodybuilders and professional athletes are now using to treat and reverse the injuries they have received over the years? And if so, what do you think of them?
Oh, what process?
The stem cell treatments. There are a lot of videos on YouTube now showing professional and ex-professional athletes going down to South America and even in the United States to get the latest stem cell treatments to try.
Oh, stem cell.
Yeah, to try and heal their injuries.
I know nothing about it, so I can't really comment on it. I've never done it. I don't know anybody who has, so it's hard for me to say.
Do you believe that the years of weightlifting and exercise have extended the quality and the length of your life?
I don't know. I don't have any control group.
Okay.
There's no me that didn't do it. So, I've been careful. I've had injuries. I've done my best to avoid them, and done therapy to alleviate them, and doing the best I can. And I'm 81 years old now, and I can still move around, and I'm not in pain. So that's it.
Well, I'll tell you, when I look around at the people who don't take care of themselves, who abuse themselves with drugs and alcohol, processed food, and then I look at the people who are still going at the gym, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. The people who do work
Yes.
out, exercise properly, they're in much, much better shape. If you had to give everyday people some professional advice on bodybuilding, or advice on just lifting weights in general, what advice would you give to normal people just trying to improve their health?
Find a good source of information on how to train correctly, be it a coach or someone who helps you, a qualified trainer, or if that's not available, look for textbooks. Like, for example, I have several, one called 91 Day Wonder Body, which is a 3-month day-by-day course telling you exactly what to do every day. That can be very helpful. I have another one called the Zane Bodybuilding Manual, which is 436-page book that pretty much says everything about my career, about what I've done. So I think studying those things can help you in your own training.
Do you think your reduction of carbohydrate consumption has eliminated much of the inflammation that a lot of other people who do eat a lot of carbohydrates still experience?
I don't know.
Well, Frank, it's been great having you on the John Ark Show. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you would like to promote?
Well, if you go to my website, frankzane.com, you'll see what I have, goods and services. Basically, I do seminars, 3-hour sessions with people from all over the world. They come here to my facility in La Mesa, and I take them through workouts, show them correct form in the exercises, how to stretch between sets, and how to avoid injury, and follow a good nutritional program. And I think if you're so inclined, it's great to do that program.
Well, Frank, first of all, I want to commend you on being an extraordinary role model for the world of bodybuilding. And I want to thank you for coming on the John Ark Show. I want to wish you all the best to you and your family, and you're always welcome back on the John Ark Show, my friend.
Well, thanks very much, John. I'll look forward to doing it again in the future.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.